I don't think I ever would have thought I would be saying these next words, but we have to do something about our immigration here in Canada. It's getting out of control. I'm not the only one that's saying it. I'm pretty late to the game, if I'm being a little honest. There's been a lot of people that have been hyper aware of our immigration policies here in Canada, how we're just having this open border immigration status and how that's actually affecting our economy in a very bad way. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I do want to encourage everyone to smash the like button and subscribe if you have yet already. It does really help grow the channel, as well as just a gentle reminder that I do have an extra channel, which is going to be linked down below in the description. It's called Mr. Sunshine Extra. It's almost at 20,000 subscribers. I would highly recommend you go check that out because there's a lot of content there that I just don't have enough time to put into the main video on this channel. And we're going to be talking about how to protect ourselves against immigration, how Canada could do better, but more importantly, how do you protect yourself online? Well, thankfully, I have a message for today's sponsor. I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Private Internet Access. We have teamed up and we are offering my audience 83% off by using code SUNSHINE, which can be linked down in the description or the pinned comment below. We're living in a world of censorship, and Justin Trudeau is at the forefront of this race. Canadians are being censored left, right, and center, which is why you have to protect yourself with a VPN, such as Private Internet Access. What a VPN does is it encrypts your information so that while you're browsing online, you're going to different websites, your information, your personal data is not shared with these massive corporations. It's almost like putting a cloak over yourself. And the best possible way that I like going about this is using the cloak, such as Private Internet Access. Even when it comes to getting the news here in Canada, there's an insane level of censorship. You can't even get Canadian news on Facebook, for crying out loud. Above and beyond the news, if you want to get different content on streaming platforms such as Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, because a lot of these corporations, they geo-lock content, such as in Canada, you can only watch Canadian Netflix. But with Private Internet Access, you can bypass that and you can watch American Netflix, UK Netflix. It's really an interesting thing, and it unlocks a whole new world of content out there. The best part about it is that you're not just restricted to doing that from a computer or a tablet. You can do that from your phone, and you can have a whole lot of devices linked to your Private Internet Access account, which is incredible. Private Internet Access is not only user-friendly, it's extremely affordable, and it is the best way of saying F you to the government. You can get 83% off of Private Internet Access by using the link down in the description or the pinned comment below. Thank you, Private Internet Access, for sponsoring today's video. So there's been a bit of a correction in the polls recently. You have the Conservative Party at a 211 seat projection, which is down from 217, which is down from that prior 220, with a bottom line of 184 and a top end of 232. I don't exactly know what would have caused this big of a drop, 6 points in the opinion polls here. I do pretty much follow the news every single day, and there hasn't really been anything that's stood out that's been negative against the Conservatives. In fact, everything that's negative seems to still be directed towards the Liberals and the NDP, and that could just be my own algorithm feeding me that bias, but it's also reflected on mainstream media. Nonetheless, still sitting at 99 projected, 99% likely of winning the most seats, and 99% likely of winning a majority government. So it doesn't really matter that they've gone down 6 points in the projected polls here. It's still looking very, very good. There's a couple of things that are getting a little bit of attention. We're going to take a look at what Tucker Carlson has to say about immigration. But before we do, there's a few things I just want to bring to everyone's attention here. So this account here is sharing, is saying, I'll just leave this here, is sharing a screenshot of a Reddit post that's kind of going a little bit viral. It's almost has 200,000 views here. This is from Canadian Mass Immigration. I'm a store manager and I have not hired any Indian immigrants. The level of teamwork and productivity is something I'll never see with stores overran by immigrants. They absolutely have no work ethic whatsoever. They don't take their responsibilities seriously, don't help customers at all, and some have this entitled attitude like the world owes them for just working here, which I'm going to comment on that last part, that entitlement that the world owes them or Canada owes them. You're seeing that with the protests that have erupted on the East Coast. Who to be the bad guy? The PEI immigrant students, I believe, that have come here that are pretty much demanding, if I'm not mistaken, permanent residency. And it feels like they're owed that, right? And that's just not the way Canada works or should work. Is you don't get to protest your way into being a citizen. You either are or you're not. Some people have to wait years and years and years, which you're going to see very, very soon. And it's just it's not realistic to have that type of bias to allow people to bully their way into being a Canadian citizen. Whenever they come in and try to hand in the resume, I usually just say, no, sorry, and they turn away in disappointment. Meanwhile, the non-immigrant workers I have are a completely different story. They're more reliable, more mature, and actually get things done. They're not perfect, but compared to Indian immigrants, they're a godsend. I miss when places like Tim's and Walmart had these kinds of employees. The thing is, one of my best employees is an Indian girl who was born in Canada, which just says it all. If you're a store manager, I advise you not to hire any Indian immigrants. So it's not a diss against Indian-born Canadians. It's a diss to, or it's a mention from a store owner that hiring immigrants is not working in his benefit. And you're going to see some testimonies here. But first, we're going to take a look at Harrison Faulkner from True North, who's sharing this video. The Migrants' Rights Network says the number of illegals living in Canada could be anywhere between 20,000 and 500,000. That's a pretty big estimate there, buddy pal. Holy smokes, totes my goats.
I wonder if I could ask if any of you have an estimate of how many people are undocumented in Canada and how many you anticipate might want to apply if a program is opened?
One of the major concerns is that there is no good estimate of how many undocumented people there are. The range estimate is from 20,000 to 500,000. We believe that for this reason, a program should be broad and inclusive to allow people to come out from the shadows and enter the family of rights by applying for permanent residency. Instead of trying to determine caps at this point, it is crucial that we understand that this is about equality and fairness. And if there is some people who are excluded, then that's not equality. That's just discrimination.
Just as a
Okay, so they're trying to get people who are illegals, essentially, coming out of the shadows and registered as a Canadian citizen, and the government's promising, we're not going to discriminate against you, we're going to give you all of the rights, even though you've illegally entered this country, and we're going to reward you with Canadian citizenship. I can't believe it. I can't believe that this is the state of Canada. Harrison Faulkner, again on X, says, as far as I can tell, the only MP to voice disapproval so far of his call to give permanent residency to illegal immigrants is Kevin Vuong, a former Liberal MP and current independent who has also asked Pierre Poilievre if he can switch to being a Conservative MP. And a lot of people think that this would actually be a good idea. And I don't really know. I'm kind of sitting on the fence right now. But after this clip that we're about to watch, or this post, it's leaning me towards, yeah, I think that he should become a Conservative MP. What's stopping Conservative MPs from joining Kevin here and speaking out against this? I absolutely do think that the Conservatives and Pierre Poilievre should do a better job of speaking up against this, because it's a real freaking issue, folks. It's a real issue here. All right. Kevin Vuong says, my parents spent 2 years in a refugee camp before being welcomed to Canada. They didn't want to be there, but they respected the rules. There must be consequences when people break the rules. Granting permanent residency to line jumpers is unfair to all who waited and encourages more violations. That's exactly right. Yet somehow the Migrants' Rights Network is on Parliament Hill demanding that Justin Trudeau give all illegal immigrants in Canada permanent resident status. Unfreaking believable.
You from the unceded and never surrendered territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabeg peoples, and my pronouns are she, her, elle. So I'm here today to show union solidarity with undocumented workers and their families, women, 2S LGBTQI, plus migrants, all who have been living in fear of being detected and being deported. Undocumented people live here and build our communities and our economy. But without status, they are vulnerable to abuse and exploitation. And growing racism and xenophobia are making them even more vulnerable. Employers can violate the rights of undocumented workers, stealing wages, forcing them into unsafe working conditions, stopping workers from asserting their rights under the threat of deportation. This abuse results in an overall worsening of wages and working conditions for migrants and citizens alike. Regularization will allow workers to leave bad jobs and punish bad actors. It's leveling the playing field of improving working conditions for everyone. That is why in 2019, we as the CLC and our affiliated unions launched a small pilot to give permanent residency to undocumented workers in the Greater Toronto Area. A broad regularization program means that people can now contribute to the fullest potential to Canada's economic and social future. We, the Canadian Labour Congress, call on the government to do what is right. Bring in regularization now. Thank you.
So I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around this because it really seems like the Liberals used to be very strict about rules, no wishy-washiness. This is how it is, and we don't really care otherwise. And now they've gone so radically to the left that it doesn't even make any sense. If you sneak into the country, if you come here on vacation and you never leave and now you're an illegal immigrant, you're going to be rewarded. Apparently, according to our Canadian government, they're trying to reward that type of behavior with permanent residency. And if you say anything about it, you're a racist and you're a bigot. I feel like I'm being gaslit. I feel like I'm being manipulated by the government, by the Liberal government. It feels wrong to speak up about this because they've made me think that it feels wrong to speak up about this. And some people, when they speak up about it, sure, they go a little bit overboard and they say certain things that might cross a bit of a line. But I don't feel like I've done that on this channel. I feel like I'm still pretty progressive with how I word things because that's just how I've been indoctrinated by the government, right? Through my schooling, through my military, yada, yada. I'm a little confused as to how the government has reached this position. How does this make any sense? Please let me know down below in the comments because sometimes I feel like I'm losing my mind when this stuff happens, that they're rewarding breaking into our country illegally with you get permanent residency. Like, by that logic, then why don't Canadians just pick, I don't know, Switzerland or some other country that's a little bit better than Canada and just go there and then get permanent residency there? Like, where's the logic in any of this? I don't know. And I'm not the only person who thinks this way. You're probably not the only person that thinks this way. It's Tucker Carlson seems to also think this way. Let's take a look at what he has to say. He's been warning about this for a while. This is from his Calgary speech here. This is from a few months ago, maybe the start of 2024. Here we go.
They're limiting your freedoms. I'm a citizen. This is my government too. Tell me how that works. But they can't because that's not true. Look at
the only argument that I've really heard of the Liberals on this point is that the more people we have here doing like construction jobs and labor jobs, then the more the economy is going to grow, and then the more houses we're going to get built at a faster rate. But there's multiple issues with that. One, it hasn't worked. It has not worked at all. And two, I'm pretty sure statistically, the more immigrants that are in the trades, they're not qualified up to our standard, and the work is subpar. And that's not like a racist dig. That's just statistically, unless I'm mistaken, of course. And please correct me down below in the comments. I would hate to give false stats, but I'm pretty sure that's what is happening. It's just so bizarre, man. So freaking weird.
your housing prices. Look at the strain on your services. Look at your healthcare system, which no Canadian I meet brags about anymore.
We used to. Oh my goodness. It used to be awesome talking to Americans about that. Hey, yeah, wow. How's it up there in Canada? Pretty great. I can break my arm on a Friday and it'll be fixed by Monday. I just go to the hospital for free. Not anymore. Uh-oh. You have anything wrong with you? It's a super long wait list. In fact, I don't even
Pray for an enemy. No one, except the Christians, and they do. They're commanded to. So if you're hassling that group, maybe you've got another agenda that we should be concerned about, even if we're not in that group. If we burn 90 of their churches to the ground, and the prime minister and his little weird buddies are endorsing that, burning churches, if you're on the side of burning churches, let me just say, I don't need any other facts of the case. You're on the wrong side.
And I really don't think, and I certainly haven't seen Canadians retaliate domestically, like the citizens, to any of these sorts of attacks, unless I'm, of course, mistaken. But Canada seems like a punching bag. Culturally, economically, politically, we're just getting beat up and beat up and beat up. And the people that are taking those punches, taking those hits, are people like you, people like me, our friends, our family, taxpayers, citizens, right? People that shit rolls downhill. Unfortunately, we're at the bottom of the hill, and it's very concerning. And it seems like the hottest topic now is going to be immigration. And unless something happens, Canada, we could be in a whole whack of trouble. But this is just, a decision or an opinion, that I'm coming to based off of the information that I have. I would like to know what you guys think down below in the comments. Are we in trouble? Is our immigration good, or does it need a bit of an update? Let me know down below. That's where we're going to end today's video. I'd love to know what you guys think. On your way out, please consider hitting the subscribe button, give a thumbs up to the video, and one last thank you to Private Internet Access for sponsoring this video. I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now.